All right, back now here in Israel to a story that you won't see anywhere else, an important discussion on suicide here in Israel. I'm joined in our studios with Rabbi David פיין, who is the founder of the Berkay Rabbinical Center. We're talking a really interesting backstory. We're both from East Brunswick, New Jersey. Of all the towns in all the world, you know, East Brunswick, New Jersey, we're from the same town, went to the same temple, East Brunswick Jewish Center. Small world. But you, before moving to Israel yourself, you were a rabbi in several different synagogues across the Midwest of the U.S. The issue of suicide and suicidal thoughts, how is it handled differently, perhaps, from a religious standpoint, from a Jewish standpoint, in U.S. communities where you worked for many years, and here in Israel? Is there a different mindset in how to deal with this issue?
Well, I really come from the rabbinic standpoint. So from the rabbinic standpoint, people in the United States visit and with their community, with their pulpit rabbis in order to talk about issues, emotional issues, and all kinds of challenges that they may have in life. Here in Israel, it's a lot less common for people to go to a community rabbi to speak about these issues.
Why is that? Is there more of a stigma here in Israel from a rabbinical standpoint? I mean, is there more stigma and less openness and open discussion about some of these issues than elsewhere in the world?
Yes, there's a very big stigma, especially when it comes to suicides, but about emotional issues in general. People, for many historical reasons that we don't necessarily have to go into right now, people are less inclined to frequent their community or pulpit rabbi in Israel to discuss these challenges that they may have in their lives.
And so talk about the work that you're doing, I guess, to train and teach rabbis. Are there signs that they're looking for? Is it just I mean, what exactly is the work that you do? How important is it?
So we train rabbis. We have a two-year course for pulpit rabbis all across Israel. They come to our center for 2 years, once a week, one full day a week for 2 years. And we train them in all aspects of practical rabbinics. And this specific unit that we're doing is on recognizing the signs of suicide and then being able to perhaps do a little first aid, as they call it, in lacking another mental health professional, and then referring to a mental health professional.
Especially for a religious Jew, an observant Jew, what would be an obvious sign, perhaps the first thing that rabbis or community leaders can look out for as a sign of something's wrong, something's off?
Right, so I don't think it's any different necessarily in the religious community than it is in any other community when it comes to suicidal thoughts. Around 20% of kids at any time in Israel are thinking about suicide. That's what these statistics show. But the benefit of a rabbi is that the rabbi meets people at least once a week, usually when they're coming to synagogue, some of them once daily or even 3 times daily. So when a rabbi has good relationships with his congregants, he's able to know if something's off and know when somebody may require a little bit more attention.
Is there, I mean, from rabbinic law, from if an observant Jew would be afraid to be open because of concerns about burial rights and family stigma, is there something unique to a religious person and their willingness to talk about some of the issues, that the thoughts they're having?
Right. Well, suicide is forbidden from Torah law, and in the past, the person would not be buried within the confines of the normal cemetery. They would be buried outside of the fence. And so therefore, especially suicide does have a very long history of stigma in the Orthodox Jewish community. But again,
how do you change that? How do you fight that?
So traditionally, the reason people were buried outside the cemetery is because people were thought to have made the decision to commit suicide. But today we know from science and from mental health science that people are in a state of mind, a psychiatric state of mind that doesn't really allow them to make a free choice to commit suicide. So therefore, it's not really considered like it's their fault.
It's better understanding of the science of the brain chemistry and the mental health aspects that weren't known decades ago.
Exactly.
I mean, when you hear from rabbis, I mean, who complete the course or follow up with you, are they surprised that people in their own congregations come to them and they know that they were dealing with these issues?
So we find that the more that the rabbis talk about what they learn in our course, the more that people approach them about these issues, about all kinds of issues. So when people go and speak about suicide and mental health, people do approach their rabbis more. And and we're having a conference in 2 weeks to mark the World Suicide Prevention Day for pulpit rabbis across Israel. And we hope that the Sabbath following, that all rabbis in Israel will speak about this issue from their pulpits, opening it up so that people will feel free to come and comfortable to come to their rabbi if they have these issues to discuss with them.
Last question, just real quick, because we're running out of time. But I wanted to ask if people want to find out more, if they're a rabbi or community leader that want to bring this to your rabbi's attention, go online, research.
Right, so just go to Barkai, B-A-R-K-A-I, Center for Practical Rabbinics. Our address is www.israelrabbis.org.
All right, Rabbi David פיין, the founder of the Barkai Rabbinical Center, helping rabbis learn more about mental illness and offer support for those battling suicidal thoughts. Important work you're doing. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
What a connection that we have, right? Who would have thought?
Brunswick,
East Brunswick, New Jersey. All right, thank you, sir, and a lot more news to come when Daily Dose returns.